Family has been a very complicated thing in my life. Most of us growing up ended up having families where, we all have a childhood and it's where our life begins, right? But today, I want to talk about something pretty serious that kind of changed my life forever. So, growing up as a kid and everything, my life started in Kansas City, right? In downtown Westport and everything. I was in a really cool area. It was a very rough neighborhood and everything. It was considered partially the ghetto. It was also one of the biggest dangerous parts of the city when I was younger. Growing up, I did have an okay childhood. My life wasn't bad. My childhood was actually pretty good for the most part. I did go outside and play and everything, and I was old enough to, to be able to see stuff and be able to experience things before technology fully took over when I got older. I was definitely considered a middle class family, right? Like the average Joes, where we didn't have a shitload of money, but we did have stuff where we were able to go out and do some things. But we weren't able to afford like extreme luxuries or nothing, of course. But it was just like the average childhood experience. But there's a lot of things that did change as I got older. So when I was young, as 5 years old, my family decided to go out and move to a small town called Hale, Missouri, because my family didn't have a lot of money, couldn't afford the house anymore, and the house was just simply too small. And I ain't gonna lie, this town was not bad. It was all right, I guess. It was extremely small, but it gave me a different taste of a different lifestyle of living in a small town compared to the city. I'm kind of grateful for it because it kind of makes you wonder what it's like to live in a different environment. But I definitely prefer the city over the small town in the long run. But yeah, my parents did treat me like a human being and everything. It was really fun being able to go out and everything. We rode bikes and we actually collected cans and stuff for money. Kind of teach the importance of working for money when I was really young. Eventually, we got sick and tired of the same shit for about 4 years, and we decided to move to another town called Richmond, Missouri. And that town was okay. It was a little historical with all the stuff that went down with, like, Jesse James and everything, so that was kind of cool. But it was a little bit more of the same, but it did feel more like a city compared to the other small town that had 500 people living there, because Hale was so fucking small that if you tell anyone in any other towns what that town was, no one would, like, understand what the hell you're talking about. Unfortunately, the school district over in this town did not treat me very well. I was bullied hella for the most part, but I did find one of my best friends. I'm still friends to this day, and he's definitely one of my best friends for life. We may not always see each other and everything because life is keep putting us in different directions, but I do very much love him, and I do miss him a lot, and I do get to see him when I can because he's got a family now and everything. Eventually, my family got fed up with all the small-minded people because for some reason in a lot of these school districts and these smaller towns, it's very rigged against people that aren't from the area, unfortunately. So there's a lot of favoritism and everything, and there's a lot of like teachers that are also students' parents that are also favor the kids that are from that town, and they even favor the students that actually, put their kids in the classes with all their friends and shit. It was honestly terrible. But some good things did happen when I moved back to the city of Kansas City. It was in a suburban town called Liberty, and I'm not gonna lie, guys, this shit was so much fun because I got my first job and everything because I was finally growing up and I graduated from high school. And life was simply a lot more fun for those years until my family decided to randomly move to Florida. And I did have to go with them because at the time I wasn't fully moved out and I didn't even know how to fucking even be even an adult. I was like 20 years old, and I kind of regret not learning some skills when I was younger because I was a late bloomer in my life. So I didn't really get to move out and learn everything until I was about 21 or 22. But here's where things start taking a turn for the worse. So in Liberty, Missouri, I found out that when I was in high school that my mom was actually not that very good of a person, unfortunately. I found out she was very narcissistic, self-absorbed. She was always bitching about her life, always complaining about everything, never was a good role model, never a good positive mindset or nothing. She was a hard worker, but she would constantly complain about everything to the point where even my fucking dad was like fed up with this shit, right? And unfortunately, began to resent her a lot because she started getting verbally and emotionally abusive towards all of us when we got older. And like it's weird because when we were younger, we didn't really see any of the signs. It's really sad to think about because I think just because we were kids, we didn't really have very good judgments yet. But then as we get older, we realize, oh shit, maybe my family member is not a good person. It's a sad reality. It was a tough pill to swallow, but I did like try to make it work for the most part. And my other siblings had a hard time with my mother because they would always fight with her and shit. But I was the only person in the family where I kind of kept it to myself because I'd always just pretend to agree with her just to kind of, get her to leave me alone. And she favored me because of that. But I really did not like being the favorite child in this type of fucking family, My dad was also the type of person where he just fucking didn't, He didn't like have any balls or nothing. He was just a big pushover. My mom had the fucking pants of the relationship. Well, I enjoyed my time living in Florida with the environment and everything, but my mom was just very miserable, always complaining and shit, because she did it to run away from her problems, and I only went with her to get a new experience and everything, and my dad was kind of just with her to support her, right? And I just got fed up with it, so I decided to fucking pack my things, and I wanted to move back to Missouri to fucking, get better my life and do things that I wanted to do. And I honestly don't regret it. It's actually been very peaceful, and I've actually been living my best life ever since. But while I was living back in Missouri, I found out my mom and my parents took my Social Security. They racked it up in credit card debt, put it in my name, stole about $6,000 of credit card debt. And it was very hurtful and it sucked because I didn't expect any family member to do this to someone, and how could anyone do this to their own kid, man? And of course, the sad part was when I went to go confront my own parents about this shit, because I was very hurt and everything. I wanted to like at least an apology and try to work through it, at least get them to pay this shit off, because this is not cool for anyone. This is literally breaking the law and theft. It's identity fraud. It's fucking terrible, and I don't wish this on anybody. The sad part was I didn't get a single apology. My mom gaslighted the whole situation, saying that it was all my fault and everything. And this all fucking would have been resolved for just if this didn't happen to begin with in the first place. Because there were some red flags with my mom when I was younger, living in Florida, where when I was working at a job, I was working at Walmart at the time because it was the only job in Florida that I could get, because the job market in Florida at the time was just super competitive. So it was a little difficult. And unfortunately, I found out my mom stole my wallet and everything just to buy beer packs, beer and cigarettes, because my mom and dad are both fucking, alcoholics. They both love to drink beer. They blame each other when the beer goes away and everything. And I don't really like to open up about shit like this too often, but it's just, this is what happened. This was the beginning of me wanting to completely cut ties with my parents, and I didn't fully confirm that yet until my mom said the worst thing that you could say to a fucking kid, no matter how old they are, and it completely changed my world forever. To this day, I'll never forget where my mom revealed the truth about my life, where at 23 years old at the time, my mom told me that my dad was not my real dad. And at first I didn't believe her and shit, because like my mom the whole time was lying to me about my biological dad like being in my life, and he was not my biological dad. Obviously I looked at my dad as my real dad. I still don't have a problem, and but the way she did it, I was already emotional and hurt and was ready to cut ties. When she said that shit, she literally laughed in my face. And not just that, my dad actually came on the phone and admitted that it was true, and it fucking hurt. It hurt like shit. And at first I thought they were playing mind games with me, but I decided to go potentially get a DNA test. And I did find out that I did in fact was not the actual but related to my dad biologically, and it fucking hurt because for the whole time they didn't do this to fucking tell me the truth, to let me know what happened. They did this to hurt me in a way, to get back at me in a very childish way, and it really sucked because I loved my parents as a kid. I completely trusted them. I saw the best in everything. My parents did not appreciate me, and it sucks because I just want to tell you all that family is not always blood. It fucking hurts when shit like this happens. And to this day, man, just because you had a great childhood or a decent childhood does not mean you can have a bad adulthood or rough adulthood. Like, I don't consider my adulthood extremely terrible, but my life is definitely a million times harder than it would have been if I just simply had my parents. But at the same time, it did teach me a shitload of independence, and I am forever grateful for it, because I also remember my mom was downplaying my ADHD as if I wasn't capable of doing anything, and it fucking sucked because I remember thinking that I could do more with my life, and every time I had dreams and aspirations, like my YouTube channels when I was 18 and stuff, always tell my parents I wanted to become some type of content creator and shit. They would just always doubted me and just said that it's a pipe dream and you'll never get anywhere. But I found out that they just don't know anything, and I didn't do this to prove them wrong. I did make this YouTube channel just to do it for me, because it's something I love to do. The cool part about everything is that the whole time everything kind of calmed down and everything, that the first couple holiday seasons were extremely hard. It was really depressing and very hard to get through the first Christmas without any type of family members with parents, because this wasn't just me that I cut ties with. My other siblings felt the same way. They all moved away from my parents all the way to different parts of the world, and it's gotten that bad where none of them really talk to them and stuff because my parents are just that toxic, and they just don't seem to give a shit about other people's feelings, especially when it comes to their own kids. Losing your parents naturally from death or anything is one thing, right? But no one talks about the pain of like losing a family member and knowing that you can never get that relationship back when they're still alive just because they're super hateful, toxic people. I feel like it's a whole different type of hurt. They're both very hurtful situations, but I just feel like that people should really be more aware of the situations when it comes to like cutting ties with family members and parents, because no one's ever perfect, but you should not have to put up with that type of shit if they're going to go that levels to literally destroy your life, and it's really sad. And there's a lot of people that was recommending me to do some type of therapy, and I wish I could do therapy, but it's just so fucking expensive, man. I just don't have that type of money, but I am trying to work on that to try to maybe afford it in the future, because I do have a lot of stuff and problems I would like to talk to someone like a therapist or something. But I did do something that did change my life in a good way. I did pick up the guitar during this whole situation because since I couldn't afford a therapist or nothing, I decided to do something with music just as a hobby, just to kind of soothe and try something new. And it really does connect with you spiritually in a way. And it did take me a while to teach myself through a game called Rocksmith and everything. And it was definitely a fun experience, and it really did improve my life for the long run in terms of like healing on the inner core and everything. But I did not let this situation entirely like make me sink entirely and just go into severe drug addictions or alcohol, because there's a lot of people who fall into a severe depression or relapse to some type of hardcore drugs of any kind, or just straight up just fucking become an alcoholic and continue the cycle, because my goal in life was to do things that make me happy, but I wanted to break the cycle because I feel like a lot of families and shit always have these generational curses, and we should not let that happen with anyone. There's a lot of people in life that should be willing to do better than do these fucking generational curses. And just because your parents did this shit when you were raised and everything does not always make it the right thing to do. And that's another tough thing I learned as I got older. It was a really tough thing to swallow. But I will say is that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's been about 4 years since this whole situation went down, and it's gotten a lot better. I've met a lot of people. I've built a lot of social groups that feel like family members, and I even have like became friends with older people too that I could relate with, that could give me that type of, some like a mom type figure in a way relationship. It's not exactly the same, like a parent relationship, but you know what I mean. Like we always have that one friend's mom that you hang out with at your friend's house, and you kind of develop like a second like mom or parent in a way. It's not like a complete parent situation, but like it's still cool as fuck that you could get to that level. But to anyone that still has a great relationship with their parents as an adult, or if they're still alive and they're still like alive and well and they treat you well and everything, please cherish your parents, man, if you can. Because also try, if you can correlate with your parents' relationship, try to talk to them and fix things. Please try and if you can, because unfortunately with my situation, I already tried to fucking fix things and try to make things work, but unfortunately they just don't want to change, and it's a super sad reality for a lot of people. So please, if you can, try to cherish your family members if it's even possible. I do live a pretty good life now, and I did not let this situation fucking, define me at least. So I have a really good group of friends that are like family members. I literally like been having friendships with these people for like 10 plus years, and it gave me a different perception of like having children and everything. And this is one of the reasons why I really do not want children, is because of generational curses like this. And since I don't really have any type of support system, like I did say in the video about me not wanting kids, that it's just not worth it, It's just simply it's just no, not worth it. If you gotten this far into the video, thank you guys so much for fucking listening, because this is a tough video. I ain't gonna lie. This was a little tough one to just talk about, because I don't usually spill out super serious shit like this, but this is the real world, and this is what stuff goes on in people's lives sometimes. It's sad. If you guys have any type of situations that's similar to mine or even remotely worse and everything, feel free to comment down in the comment section below, because I like to read some of these, because I could probably relate to a lot of y'all's situation. It may not be perfect, but it may not always be the same exact situation, but just people commenting on something like this would be greatly appreciated. I also apologize for not uploading much this week, because I got snowed in at someone else's house. I was at a friend's house and everything, and it fucking sucked because I wanted to make videos and everything, but I didn't have a laptop, and my car literally got snowed in to the point where I fucking had to get someone to tow it out because it was annoying. But thankfully, he was a great friend and actually helped me get this shit out. But it took a couple days of shoveling snow until I finally gave up. But and just asked for help. So it's never bad to ask for help, by the way. So if you can, use your resources. Man, this is the longest video I've ever done on this channel, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So y'all take care, and I hope you guys find your peace.